Hey everyone, Mitch coming in for the Commander's Core Studio. Welcome to the show. So, Lost Caverns of Ixalan spoiler season. I didn't mess up that time. Anyways, Lost Caverns of Ixalan spoiler season is a lot to say, and there's a lot of cards coming out, and this one, well, the wording really matters, because this one you kind of got to read 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 a lot of times to actually ensure that you're understanding it properly, and even then you might not. But yeah, once you understand what this card does, it is incredibly powerful. So let's jump into it with Sovereign Okinec Ahaul. Let's go with that. 3/4 Cat Noble with Ward, 2 for 2 green and a white. And of course, this is a legendary creature, so get ready, Commander players, because this is going to be confusing for everyone. Whenever it attacks, for each creature you control with power greater than that creature's base power, put a number of +1 counters on it. That creature's equal to the difference. I already messed up right there. Anyways, what this does is somewhat confusing, and it does take a few reads to really understand what this does. Because it's like, okay, if this attacks, does every creature get bigger based on this or other things or that? Basically, let's break it down, okay, with just a simple example. Let's say I've got 1/1/1 in play. Okay, I've got a single 1/1 in play with my commander as well. I attack with this, and sure, that 1/1 as well. Doesn't matter if that creature's attacking or not. But that 1/1 creature, let's just say, has a counter on it already. Okay, so it is a 2-power creature. So, for each creature you control with power greater than that creature's base power. So, that creature has a base power, or a power greater than its base power, right? It has 1 more power than its base power. It has a 1/1 counter on it already, so it's 2 power. Now, I get a number equal to the difference. So, the difference between 2 power and 1 is 1, so I get an extra counter on it. This also works with anthems, though. That being said, yeah, the more and more counters you get on your creature, again, with these triggers, you're kind of like doubling up the power each time just inherently. So as long as you just like modify creatures slightly, again, getting extra power on them, again, through most likely counters or, equipment or anthems. Yeah, anthems are really, really crazy good with this commander. Yeah, the more powerful all your creatures become every single combat. And that includes, of course, your commander itself. So yeah, your commander is already protected with Ward 2, which is lovely, but also, yeah, kind of going to be protected in combat just by it being able to become absolutely massive in absolutely no time. And all your creatures essentially will do that as well. So yeah, absolutely confusing and crazy. And the templating on this is just, the wording is just so... I mean, I'm sure this is like the best way to actually say it, but it's so confusing. I mean, I guess you kind of really need to see like an example of it just to actually kind of understand it really. I mean, another quick example, okay? Let's say we have that same 1/1 in this commander, and we've got an anthem in play that's like +2/+2, okay? Cool. So that creature is a 1/1, now it's 3/3 attacks. The difference between 3 and 1 is 2. It gets 2 extra counters on it. Then the next time it would have 5. 5 minus 1 is 4, getting 4 extra counters. You see where this is going, kind of. It's a very, very, very kind of convoluted thing. Regardless, through all that confusion, through all that craziness, yeah, this is powerful. This is very powerful. This is a decently low-to-the-ground commander that protects itself. And yeah, can just make an army absolutely massive in absolutely no time. Of course, there's +1 counter synergies as well. But, yeah, just please keep in mind that this is going to be probably a little bit confusing when it comes to actually playing it. So it might need to be explained a couple of times throughout the game. So there you go. With that said, I'm also going to be explaining what cards I'd be considering for this commander in my budget buys and price your picks. Again, budget buys cards are less than $1. Inside my budget price your picks outside of my budget more than $1. If you are interested in these cards in this commander, make sure you check out that card list link in the description below. When new exciting commanders like this one are spoiled, sometimes, well, cards go up in price. So consider picking them up sooner rather than later. Now, let's jump into those. So let's start things off in our budget buys with always watching an incredible card. Enchantment, 1 white, non-token creature you control +1 and have vigilance. Essentially an anthem that says, hey, on non-token creatures, let's just swing out. Okay, we have vigilance and also get slightly bigger. And again, being slightly bigger is just an inherent benefit with this commander that, hey, even if just 1 power greater for all your creatures, that ensures that that trigger will essentially benefit you. Again, If you have that 1/1, now it has 2 power, all of a sudden the difference is 1, you get an extra counter on it, and that's only going to build every single turn. So you just need one Anthem to really get things going. Obviously, if you have more of a token build, Intangible Virtue would be basically the version of this card that would be great too. Maybe you have both in the deck depending on what you have. Next up, Dictative Heliod. Let's go up that ramp now, and all of a sudden we have 2 extra power for our creatures. Flash Thin creature get +2/+2. This can be a really cool combat trick, though you might not want to utilize this as a combat trick because you want to make sure you get that attack trigger from your commander and barely benefit from that. So again, a lot of extra value for just pumping your entire team, which is already a benefit, but now it's kind of like doubled. Just inherently, just on one attack, it is going to basically be a double Anthem. Because again, it's going to give your creatures an extra 2 counters. That just going to keep building and building and building. So of course, an even bigger way, but yeah, Collective Blessing, I love this card. Champ for 6 mana, but well worth it. Creature control +3/+3. Yeah, that is quite a bit. Again, your commander, has 3 power inherently, I believe? Yeah, so all of a sudden it's going to be 6 power, and then it's going to be 9 on the attack, making your commander hard to deal with. And of course, this just makes your entire team better and better and better with every single combat. Yeah, Anthems are going to be huge for this kind of a deck. Have fun with that. Next up, Gavany Township. Let's just talk about a very simple land that you can throw into the deck. Again, you have a 2-color deck. Including a colorless land is completely fine. Taps for colors, pay 2, and Selesnya colors tap, put a counter on each creature you control. Well worth it. That's basically like 5 mana technically because it's like tap the land itself plus the 4 mana. It's going to be well worth it to get like a counter on every single one of your creatures, which again is basically going to be doubled because again of your commander's attack trigger getting an additional counter because of that extra gap in base power and actual power. There you go. Moving on, Forgotten Ancient, another way to essentially distribute, well, a lot of counters. Whenever a player casts a spell that includes anyone, not just yourself, get a counter on this. Then being your upkeep, you can distribute these counters however you see fit to your creatures. So do so. Again, make sure that all your creatures at least have 1 counter on them, essentially, to make sure you benefit from all those attack triggers. And then also, yeah, just, maybe make your commander massive and take your opponents out with that, or whatever you need to do. Next up, one that does both, actually, going wide and also going tall. Feldar Retreat. Whenever a land enters battlefield you control, choose 1, make a 2/2 Cat Beast, or get a counter on each creature you control. They gain Vigilance on a turn. So again, this does both for you, which is fantastic. First up, yeah, again, build that army of Cat Beasts. Go wide. Make sure you're benefiting from, again, your counters, your anthems, everything. And of course, with this, yeah, again, you're in green. You've got plenty of ways to land ramp and get a ton of lands into play and trigger this a ton. So sure, get counters on your creatures, give them vigilance, swing out, keep them back for defense. And also, again, the more counters you build, the more potential your commander has. Also, here we go. Maya, Bredegar Protector, somewhat similar. Other creature control +1/+1. So again, a nice anthem there for you. Just a base power. Hey, everyone, we're going to be above that base power no matter what. And on top of that, whenever a land enters battlefield under your control, you get a 1/1 human. So again, go wide as well. So yeah, ones that can up you, go wide and actually tall as well. Really benefit with this commander. And then, yeah, when it comes to going wide, Call the Coppercuts. Perhaps the best way to go wide very, very quickly. Instant speed, basically 7 mana if you want to choose all your opponents. Hey, make a creature for each creature they have. Or at the base, 3, 5 if you want to choose 2 opponents. Yeah, this can just basically be a 7 mana out of nowhere, though. Like, make 20 creatures. Have fun with that. And yeah, they're 1/1s, instant speed. You get them in play. If you got anthems again, that's just going to be great free value from your commander's trigger. And of course, you have other ways to interact with counters as well. So yeah, have fun with that. Speaking of fun, Wild Beastmaster. This one can be absolutely crazy. A 1/1, whenever it attacks, each other creature you control gets +X/+X on turn. X is Wild Beastmaster's power. This one is just absolutely absurd because you can stack those attack triggers to make sure that your commanders goes first. Let's say, again, you have an anthem play. Let's say you've got Collective Blessing. Okay, cool. So you attack with your commander and all these things and whatnot. Sure, do that. This is going to say, cool, okay, I've got 4 power. I'll swing. I can actually make that into 7 power, again, because of my commander's attack trigger. Then I'm going to utilize this attack trigger to give all my creatures +7/+7. All my other creatures, I should say. This can get quite even more confusing, kind of, with all these counters and just laying things out and being like, where's the power? How much power here? You, of course, can stack it in the reverse if you really want to. Regardless, crazy power can definitely happen with this kind of a confusing commander. But now let's move on to the pricier picks. Again, cards that are more than $1. Flowering the White Tree. Yeah, you knew this one was not going to be underneath $1 the second you saw it when it was spoiled. Ledger creature control at +2/+1 and have ward 1. Non-ledger creatures you control at +1/+1. So a great lowers the ground 2 mana anthem effect for all your creatures. Just a good base level to say, yeah, let's make sure we're getting value out of our commander and out of attacking no matter what. And also, yeah, the commander even more protected and also just a little extra boost to our ledger creatures. Moving on, Beastmaster Ascension. This is a crazy good anthem. Whenever a creature controls attacks, you get a counter on this. Once you have 7 counters, Yeah, +5/+5 to all your creatures. That's an absurd amount and so easy for you to get to that, yeah, you know what? This is just going to be a double benefit for you in no time. Again, +5/+5. You know, that example, the 1/1, 6 mana, or no, sorry, 6 mana, 6 power, then attack, and all of a sudden 5 extra counters on it because that difference. Yeah, this adds up quite quickly. Speaking of adding up, oh my goodness, the headache of actually dealing with all these counters is why you might not want to play with this commander because it's going to be an absurd amount. Cathar's Crusade. Whenever a creature you control enters the battlefield, get a counter on each creature you control. So yeah, with all these tokens you're going to be making, yeah, you can get a ton of counters on creatures very quickly. Then you attack, you get even more counters. Have fun. You're going to need like a full-time job just to keep track of these counters. It's going to be quite a few. Moving on. Speaking of which, doubling season. Yeah, $37. That's actually cheaper than it used to be. Regardless, there's a reason why this is so expensive. First up, if an effect would create one or more tokens under control, it doubles those tokens. And the same thing with counters, essentially. So basically, hey, you're making a ton of tokens throughout the game. You double that. You just double it. You're getting an absurd amount of value. And of course, when you're getting counters on those creatures, whether it's one of the effects I've already talked about, or again, your commanders, let's double that as well. Yeah, things can get really out of hand with this or any other doubling cards, essentially. And yeah, you've got access to a lot of them. Speaking of doubling, unnatural growth, not regrowth. At the beginning of each combat, double the power toughness of each creature you control until end of turn. Yeah, this is not just your combat, that's your opponent's as well, but especially important with your combat because you double up the power before you swing, and all of a sudden your commander is like, oh yeah, let's just get double the counters of double the counters. Gross! Have fun with all that math. Speaking of math, Pathbreaker Ibex. When attacked, creatures you control gain trample, get +X/+X until X the greatest power among creatures you control. Just a giant, massive pump effect to everyone and everything, which then makes the amount of counters they get on them even more absurd when you stack these triggers properly. Absolutely gross. And then also, again, like I mentioned, you're on a 2-color deck. You can utilize some utility lands like Karn's Bastion, tap for colors, pay for, tap proliferate. Again, you're getting extra value. That might be 5 mana, but like I talked about with Gavony Township, you're kind of getting double the value out of it. And actually just even just as a like starter for it, it just kind of like grows throughout time. So yeah, it might seem like a good amount of mana to invest in this, but hey, if you got nothing else to do with your mana, great. And even if you do, hey, again, getting an extra counter can really benefit you this turn, then the next turn, then the next turn, over and over and over again. So yeah, cards like this can be absolutely massive. But now this episode is coming to a close. It's time for me to hear from you. So in the comments below, let me know what your thoughts are on this new commander. And you actually card in the 99 of decks as well. A very exciting, but very confusing, but very powerful card. There's a lot going on here. And again, the templating just seems a bit strange. The way that was worded seems a bit strange. It's pretty confusing, but I don't know if there is a way to really word it in a different way that wouldn't be any less confusing or wouldn't actually work in the way that they want it to work, if that makes any sense. But yeah, if you are interested in this commander, make sure you check out that card list link in the description below. Stay tuned to the channel for even more exciting quick takes and spoilers coming up. And of course, as always, thanks again and have a good one. This show and episodes like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. If you're looking for an easy way to help support this show, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Also, hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss any new episodes. You can also go check out our playmats and other merchandise at thecommandersquarters.com. We also have a ton of brand new t-shirt designs in stock, so make sure you check out those as well. Another easy way to support this show is with our TCG player affiliate links. So whether you're buying a deck or individual cards, you can use this general link right here or one in the description. And the final way that you can support this show is by supporting us directly by becoming a patron. There are many benefits to being a patron, and I truly couldn't do this without all of their support.